This test has 3 parts. In each part, you'll hear a number of different extracts. At the start of each extract, you'll hear this sound. You'll have time to read the questions before you hear each extract, and you'll hear each extract once only. Complete your answers as you listen. At the end of the test, you'll have 2 minutes to check your answers. Part A. In this part of the test, you'll hear 2 different extracts. In each extract, a health professional is talking to a patient. For questions 1 to 24, complete the notes with information you hear. Now look at the notes for Extract 1. Extract 1, questions 1 to 12. You hear an endocrinologist talking to a patient called Silvana Hillier, who's been referred by her GP. For questions 1 to 12, complete the notes with a word or short phrase. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
So, Mrs. Hillier, I've got your notes here, but perhaps you could tell me in your own words about the symptoms you've been having. You've had a couple of health problems over the last year or so, I think.
That's right. Well, I've been having some digestive problems for a while. And about a year and a half ago, I was diagnosed with celiac disease. So I've had to drastically change my diet, but I'm coping all right with it overall.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I watch what I eat and feel a lot better as a result. So much so that that's my husband and I, we've always wanted children, so we thought it was a good time to do something about it. But after a year of trying, I just don't seem to be able to conceive. I didn't think there'd be any problem, to be honest, so we're wondering whether to get checked out in case there's something wrong.
Well, let's try and find out if it's linked with your other symptoms. How have you been these last few months?
I had a horrible bout of flu about 3 months ago. It laid me really low for a couple of weeks. In fact, I blame these new symptoms on that at first, because flu takes a while to get over, but I soon realised that they aren't really typical of flu.
OK. So, could you describe the symptoms you're experiencing now?
Sure. Well, the first thing I noticed was my periods. I mean, they've never been very heavy, but they're certainly much lighter now. And something which has increased is the number of times I go to the toilet. I need to go 3 or 4 times a day now.
You mean 3 or 4 bowel movements?
Yes. And what's bothering me too is my hair. Can you see? It's thinning, which I hate. I always had such lovely hair, to be honest, so this is really making me feel self-conscious.
Yeah.
And something else I'm embarrassed about is my eyes. You must have noticed how bulging they look. They never looked like that before.
Yes, I understand. It must be making things difficult.
It is. And I've noticed that my heart often seems to race, and I don't know why. And I usually love my holidays, the usual things, like swimming and sunbathing, but I've noticed that I really can't stand heat now.
Right.
That's just not like me. I can't bear it now, so I stay inside to avoid it. I sweat profusely too. Not nice. Again, that was never a problem in the past.
I see. And what about your mobility? Has that been affected?
Now that's okay. I'm not having any problem walking or anything like that. But something that is causing problems is my hands. They've developed a tremor.
Right.
It makes even simple things like holding a cup difficult, so I'm always worried I'll drop hot coffee over me. But as I say, walking is okay. The skin on my feet feels strange, though. It's gone quite thick and coarse. I know that can happen on the soles, but not here, on the top. That's why I noticed it.
And have you experienced any mood changes at all?
Well, I used to be quite easygoing, but I must say these days I feel really irritable most of the time. It's probably a result of these symptoms, but it's making things difficult.
Yeah.
Especially my relationship with my husband. And I'm so tired all the time too, which doesn't help.
And what about your family? Are your parents healthy?
My dad is, but my mum's had pernicious anemia for, well, as long as I can remember. She copes okay, but, well, obviously they're both worried about what's wrong with me. We really want to get to the bottom of it and find out what's happening.
OK, well, we need to do some tests. I'll order some blood tests and also what we call a radioactive iodine uptake test, which will help with diagnosis. And something else I'd like to do is get a scan organised of your thyroid gland. Now, if you'd like me to have a closer look at...
Extract 2, questions 13 to 24. You hear a gastroenterologist talking to a patient called James Cunningham. For questions 13 to 24, complete the notes with a word or short phrase. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
So, Mr. Cunningham, I just need to check some details before we discuss the next steps in your treatment. Could you tell me in your own words, please, how this all started and any treatment you've had?
Well, I'd been overweight for a long time, and it was always a struggle to control my weight. I've got hypertension, which I'm sure is related to this, and so I have to go for checkups every year. My cholesterol level is high too, though I can't remember the figures. I was put on statins to help deal with it.
I see. And when did you start to experience symptoms that concerned you?
I hadn't really been fit for years, so it's hard to put an exact date on things. But I'd say about 18 months ago I was feeling nauseous a lot, and I was experiencing a loss of appetite. I didn't worry too much initially and thought it might even be good because I'd eat less. I was much more bothered by this general sense of weakness.
Right.
I thought it was just one of those winter viruses that I often get and find hard to shake off, but it turned out I was wrong.
So how did things develop after that?
The big thing that happened next, though it was a gradual process, I guess, was more unsettling than any other symptoms up to that point. I noticed this slight yellowing of my skin, which other people confirmed, so it wasn't just my imagination. My tummy was swollen too, and I could clearly see all these blood vessels just above my waist. They looked really horrible. I'd never seen anything like that before.
Okay.
Anyway, I felt so bad that I saw my doctor, and he sent me to the hospital straight away.
So you had a range of tests at this point, I presume?
Yeah, I think so. One blood test showed that my liver function was all messed up.
Right.
I remember I had an ultrasound scan too, and that found my liver was inflamed. It was more damaged than they expected, and it was a shock really because although I knew I was unfit, I wasn't a heavy drinker. Anyway, they reckoned I'd had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease for some years, and it's just got slowly worse and worse and developed into the cirrhosis I have now.
And you had an endoscopy to check out your esophagus too, I believe.
Yeah, the doctors I saw at the hospital were very concerned about some dilated veins in my esophagus, so I had some treatment immediately to prevent them bleeding. They said it was potentially very dangerous, and so that's why they acted so quickly. I was also given beta blockers. I think that's what they're called.
Yes, that's right. And have you discussed with my colleagues the need for dietary changes?
Yes, I've already cut right back on my salt intake.
Good.
My diet's been pretty poor for ages. Partly because I was often so tired when I got home from work, I was just eating too much junk, to be honest.
I see.
Anyway, I was told I needed to have a bit more protein, which I think I've managed to do. I asked about all the fluid in my body, around the stomach and ankles in particular, and we talked about how to deal with that. I was given diuretic tablets. Yeah, I think they've made a difference.
Good. Now, let's look at the next stage of the treatment, Mr. Cunningham.
Well, I was told I need to get fitter, which didn't surprise me. Apparently you or someone will talk to me about something called, a moderate intensity exercise program? Yeah, well, that sounds okay, I suppose.
There's nothing to worry about with that. You'll be given advice on how to build up the amount of exercise you do fairly gradually.
It's to stop muscle wasting or something. Sounds serious, doesn't it?
Well, I'm afraid it's a common problem in patients with your condition, but there's a lot we can do to prevent it, so don't worry. Now, let's just review the medication you're currently taking.
That is the end of Part A.